Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Everybody, welcome into another edition of the podcast. It's Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee and myself, talking investing, finance, and retirement. And the wrong questions is the topic go around this time on the podcast, because we all have questions about retirement, but often we frame them the wrong way. So hopefully Sean can kind of highlight a better way to look at some of these questions that plague us all as we get to retirement. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to April. How are you?
I'm good. Baseball is back.
Mm-hmm. I figured you were excited.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So it's going to be. You looking forward to a good season? You got any early predictions? Any early thoughts?
I always believe the Red Sox are going to win in April.
Okay.
Always. That may change in May, but every April, I believe the Red Sox are going to the World Series. We're going to win the World Series, and that's just how it's going to be until games start getting played, and then some seasons I'm like, we're done.
Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
I got you. So random question for you here. Who in your opinion, I just saw this countdown the other day actually, it was listing the best 5 tool players of all time. Who in your opinion was number one on that list for the best 5 tool player ever?
The best 5 tool player?
Mm-hmm. Who has it all, basically. Can run, field, catch, hit, all that stuff.
I mean, in today's game...
This was all time. All time?
Yeah.
Number one.
I have to go with Griffey. I mean, he was
Close.
a hero of mine
when I was
a kid.
He was number 2. Yeah. Willie Mays was number 1.
Willie Mays.
And you can't argue with that. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
Well, and I never got to see Willie Mays play, but
sure.
I mean, Griffey, I think he came into the league when I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was 19 years old, just this phenom of a kid, and cannon of an arm, could run, could hit the crap out of the ball.
Right.
And everybody wanted to be Ken Griffey Jr. when you were. We were playing in the ballpark. So, yeah, it's a good
choice. It's a good choice. Nothing wrong with that choice at all. Like I said, the number 1 was Willie Mays. Nothing wrong with that choice either. So, but anyway, I just saw that the other day, and I thought of you when it popped up. I thought, Sean might like this, so I figured I'd bring it up on the podcast. But that's some right questions, right? There's no right or wrong answer with that one. That's all subjective with sports. But let's talk about some of these financial, potentially wrong questions, or at least the way we ask them often on this podcast. So, how much money do I need, Sean, in order to have saved in order to retire? That's probably the wrong way to word that. What's a better way?
This is a question that we get a lot, and the crazy part about it, a lot of financial institutions, they market this way.
Sure.
So you get the green number above your head. Well, you need $1.423 million to
right.
And to me, that doesn't really solve the problem. When you look at planning, what's the problem? It's how much monthly income do I need?
Yeah.
And then
I need a monthly paycheck, man.
I need a monthly paycheck, and then based on what I need to accomplish monthly, what do I have to save asset-wise to accomplish that goal?
Yep. To turn it into
monthly income, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You could have $4 million or $8 million or $20 million, but if your monthly expenses are out of whack, you don't have enough money.
Yeah. I saw we all can't be like, Elon Musk rich, right? I saw a funny little thing that said, if Elon Musk wants a new Lamborghini, how long does it take him to save for one? And I think the answer was like 2.5 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
Right? I wouldn't be able to save for a Lamborghini in my entire lifetime, right? So 2.5 minutes is pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily it's about the monthly income, not necessarily what you have saved, unless you're just ridiculously independently wealthy.
Right.
So okay, so a better way to frame that is how much income do I need? How much can my savings give me versus how much should I have saved? And you might say that's semantics, but again, if you're doing something, Sean, like doing I've saved the $1 million. We won't go with the 1.42 whatever that you mentioned. We'll just say $1 million for easy math. And you say, well, then I'm going to do the 4% rule and I'm going to do 40,000. That's 40,000 a year. Okay, fine. But is that all your money? Is that in a Roth or is it in an IRA? And now you owe Uncle Sam some. So now that 1 million is more like 700,000. And now you're doing 40% off of 700,000. Okay, wait a minute. And then the market's down a little bit. Well, then now it's no longer 700. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's when you get into trouble, right?
There's very little when it comes to the number. There's very little planning of what your income sources are, what your needs are. Do you have rental income? You're going to have Social Security. You have a pension.
Right.
You can work part time. If you need $40,000 a year and 30,000 of it's coming from Social Security, well, you really only need to come up with 10 grand of your own money each year.
Yeah.
So that's
the strategy of it all, right?
yeah, it's understanding what your needs are, your goals, your beliefs, and your values when it comes to money, and then really building out a plan that accomplishes those income goals.
Okay. I'm going to hop around on this list as well for the wrong question. So I'm going to go to kind of keeping it the same. So then you'll often hear, okay, well then fine. How can I get the highest possible rate of return on my money, Sean? So again, the last 3 years, we talked about this on the prior podcast, you could throw a dart, at the board of indexes and you probably did pretty good. This year, people get a little bit nervous to see how it's going to play out, but is it the right question to say what's the highest possible rate of return I can get, or is there a better way to look at that?
If you want the highest return on your money, invest in an index, right? Or invest in individual stocks. Mm-hmm. But does that solve the end goal problem? So it's this idea of return on your money, which is growth, or return of your money, which is income.
Which I think was Will Rogers, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Will Rogers that said that. And it's like, hey, do you want return of your money? Do you want to create cash flow? Do you want to create income? Do you want to create memories by doing that way? Or do you just want to grow your money as large as you can and let it be?
So, because if you're chasing the highest rate, that means you're going to be at the most risk, more than likely to get that. And if, let's say you're chasing, I don't know, just for easy math, let's just say you're chasing 10%, but 6 gets the job done and it lets you enjoy retirement and less risk. Seems like that would make more sense.
Yeah, go after what you need to get the income that you deserve and you want.
Yeah. I also think I liked what he said. He said, if you want to double your money, fold it in half and put it in your pocket.
That works too.
That works too. That's a good way to do it. Okay.
Yeah, my daughter this morning when they're doing like this fundraiser at school, and I gave her $1 yesterday. Hey, just go put this in there, and I didn't have any other cash. My wife gave her a 20 today.
Okay.
I was told who the favorite parent is now.
Yes. You cheapo.
20 times the return that I gave her.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome, thanks.
Well, you're teaching. Hey, you're teaching her finances well, right? She's like, this one here gives me. This is 20 times the return. I'm going to give this one my extra kisses and hugs today. So.
And she got to walk to school because she said that.
Oh
no, I'm just kidding. I still gave her a ride.
Uphill in the snow both ways.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, so let's keep the wrong question is don't cheap out when giving your daughter money for candy.
Exactly.
Okay, how can I pay the lowest fees to a financial advisor? Again, this is that kind of thing. Last couple of years, DIYers been kicking butt probably, and they're like, hey, why should I give my money to somebody else? I can do this. And so they start thinking, well, if I do have to turn to an advisor for that retirement stuff that it's kind of complicated, I want the lowest possible fee. Well, that doesn't sound like the right way to frame that.
No, and if you want the lowest fees, go to Vanguard.
Which is funny because Vanguard even did that study saying that they found as the lowest fees company that advisors bring like it was an average of 3%, better returns. So I thought that was hilarious.
So I've got a story of a family that we worked with years ago, and the markets were doing well. We were doing well, and obviously we hadn't gone through a correction. The husband loved the work that we did, and the wife just kept beating on, why are we paying you guys? Mm-hmm. Why are we paying you for this investment advice? Well, we had full plans built. We had tax strategies. We had a lot of things that she didn't understand.
Right.
She just saw, hey, I don't want to pay this fee. And she's like, oh, he can do it himself. And he's like, I don't want to do it.
Right.
I don't want to do it myself. Well, long story short, she made him buy us, and he got to manage the assets on his own. Fast forward a year later now, the markets have gotten hammered, and we've gotten notification that he no longer wants to manage his assets again.
Yeah, well, everybody's a genius when it's going up.
Yeah.
And it becomes a little scarier. And to his credit, and plus the time factor. It's like, hey, I didn't retire from my full-time job to learn another career, a.k.a. my own personal financial advisor, right?
Right.
I'd rather be retired.
He wants to live. He wants to enjoy life, and he doesn't want to deal with the markets. And he never did. That's why he worked with us for...
Right.
But... she didn't see it that way.
But learned that lesson, hopefully, before it was too late. So hopefully that's the case. And so maybe a better way to frame that then is instead of looking for the lowest fee, find the best value for the fees that you are paying. To your point, it wasn't just picking the investments that maybe she kind of thought that's what you were doing, But it was like, no, there's tax planning and Social Security maximization and strategy of how it all works together. There's all these, insurance, all these other pieces that go into it that she maybe just wasn't focusing on. So,
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do one more here and we'll wrap it up this week. Long-term care insurance. So the wrong question might be, should I just get it or try to pay it when I can't really afford it, or just roll the dice and do without?
That's, we're having a hard time with that right now, as far as, because there's so much noise around long-term care. It's expensive. And that's true.
It is, yeah.
But the reality is, when it comes to long-term care, one, I don't know if it's going to happen to you. I don't know if you're going to get a car accident tomorrow either. But
right, 69%, according to the Wall Street Journal, say that 69% of people, 7 out of 10, will have something happen. So
we'll have some sort of long-term care need, and that could be anywhere from, my grandparents were in and out of facilities.
Right.
Bladder infection, had to go in. Stroke, had to go in for a little bit, came out. That counts towards the number. And then my wife's grandfather was in a care facility for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And so do I think that that's going to happen? Potentially.
Yeah.
But when we look at long-term care, what we need to understand is that, one, we need to understand the cost in your area that you live, what the average costs are. 2, what your asset pool looks like. And so if we know what the costs are, kind of mathematically figure out the costs, and then we determine, can your asset pool handle a cost like that and then still have a surviving spouse, be covered financially? That's one option, self-insure. Then if you don't like that outcome, then you look at the other options that are out there: long-term care, life insurance with long-term care strategies, or annuities with long-term care benefits. Those are the choices. So understand what it's going to do to you financially. If you don't like that outcome, look at the 4 options that are out there.
And see, I like that. That's the better way to frame that question. When it comes to long-term care, instead of just saying, should I just roll the dice because it's too expensive, just say, okay, what options are out there and what might benefit or be workable with what we've got going on, or the plan or strategy we're putting together, versus just, well, I'll roll the dice, we'll take care of each other, I'll ignore it, whatever kind of conversation piece you're going with. So that was the topic today. It was just like, these are the wrong questions, the things we need questions answered, the type of questions that we need to get answered, but we're framing them often the wrong way. A little tweak to the language also can do a lot for the mindset. So if you've got questions, definitely get them answered. Talk with qualified professionals like Sean and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. He's the managing partner there. So reach out to him. Stop by the website, elevatemyretirement.com. That's elevatemyretirement.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Whatever platform you like to use with the podcast, you can check out future episodes as well as catch past episodes and all that good stuff. Sean, thanks for hanging out with me. Enjoy the early months of the baseball season. I'll catch you sometime after Easter.
Sounds good, brother. Thanks, man.
We'll talk to you next time right here on Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee from Elevated Retirement Group.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor.